Chairman, Chair, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, Chairperson of COCTA.
So as soon as the venue is open, Chair will be able to respond.
Okay, no, it's fine, Sheree.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Shirin, we should start. Are you comfortable? You are? Okay. I think we have a slightly different arrangement. So I'm hoping we. Okay. So I think we just need to get a bit of guidance in terms of, what do we do, how. The issue is going to be about the agenda and the document. Is that going to be reflected on the screen? Okay. All right. In that case, I think we should start. Welcome the members in the House, and welcome to the Minister, Deputy Minister, DG, and members on the virtual platform. Let's take this opportunity for silent prayer and meditation to mark the opening of this meeting. Thank you. Excuse me. May I invite the members of the committee who are on the virtual platform, if they can just open and greet us, can show your face or just unmute and say who's here. I'm just more interested in the members of the committee for purposes of our own record.
Good afternoon, Chair and colleagues. Member Mkhalip is here.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Member Sampa is here.
Sorry, who's that? Who's the other one? Sompa.
Sampa.
Okay, thank you. All right. Those are the only two I can see on the Zoom platform. I do understand that the DG of Traditional Affairs is on that platform. I've seen his name there. And quite a number of people. From my count, it looks like we've got about 32 people over there. So we will have this meeting, but it's supposed to be a brief meeting. On our side, the apology we have is that of Honorable Direko, who is ill-disposed. And then we have the members, Lapus Kahne and Van Sale. They are still in the house. They were going to play it by ear, and because the house is still sitting, so they might join us a bit later. So we know that they will either join here or join on the virtual platform. But I want to thank all the members who can make it, who could make it here. The Honorable Ndamase should be on his way because he was going to join physically. So otherwise, we have a good quorum, so we will proceed. Secondly, I'd like to welcome the Minister, Deputy Minister, the DG, who are here, and the DG on the virtual platform. Minister, we do understand that you had a very tight week, but the committee had felt that we should have a meeting in person. And of course, I want to indicate my appreciation for your full delegation to come, even though we know it was going to be a very tight program. So we want to thank you for that. The nature of the meeting today was going to be to get a report back from the minister on a number of issues which we thought need to be done before we close the year. And so we will give the minister the opportunity to give us an address. The address will cover a number of issues. Firstly, it's going to be in relation to the issues of most outstanding issue was the issue of the Khoi San community and leadership issues. And then apart from that, we have other update issues in relation to the distribution of the disaster fund, which the committee was very uncomfortable about. And then the update on the STS-TID rollover project on Eskom meters. Then the other one was the response onto the food poisoning. And then, of course, a short brief also on the issue meeting with the Kings. Now, from our discussion with the minister, I do know that most of these issues is to pick up on the way forward in terms of where things are and maybe some of the implications. But I want to acknowledge that the Director General has submitted several presentations. There is a presentation that responds to the issues of the Khoi and San matters, the presentation on the Eskom rollout, Eskom meters rollout, food poisoning, and also on the issue of the disaster funding. All of these issues are largely updates because we've actually had more detailed presentations before. So this time around, I take them all as read, and I will only indicate that once the minister has done the presentation, if we need further detail, then we can ask the DG to clarify where we think that we need more details. But we will not actually give the opportunity now for the DG. It's mainly the minister who's going to be addressing the committee. So that is the issue. And having said so, then I'd like to also indicate that we want this meeting to be a brief one, and then of course we shouldn't last more than 45 to an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, depending on the interest of the members. I'm just indicating because as members, we're aware that it's a very tight schedule that we're dealing with. But it was very, very important that on closing the year, we should actually have this meeting, and I do want to say again my appreciation. So, Minister, you'd be given the floor, but would like you to take us through all of those issues at the same time. We'll give you about 20 minutes or so, and then we'll get the committee members to ask questions and try and do clarifications, and then try and round up and take their way forward from there. Honorable the Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, Dr. Mkhize. Greetings to honorable members physically present and those in the virtual platform. I'm accompanied by the team, the Deputy Minister, Prince Bans Ngamashe, DG Changana, DG Dipofa is in the platform, and the senior managers from the department. I want to thank this opportunity, Chair. Sometimes when programs are conflicting, we are unable to appear before the committee, but it is indeed a great pleasure that today, under difficult circumstances, but we managed to make it happen, that we come and appear before the committee. I will touch upon 5 items. The first one is the uneven distribution of disaster funding to provinces. I must indicate, Honorable Chair and members of the committee, that COGTA did all what it's supposed to do to collect the information from provinces and submit accordingly to the National Treasury. In terms of the report that was submitted by the DG, the total amount that was requested from Treasury in relation to this matter was 11.9 billion, which was going to cover 5 provinces: Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, Mpumalanga, Western Cape, Limpopo, and Free State, which marks the province number 6. As we all know, all other ministries do not decide on the final outcome or allocation by the National Treasury. The final response by the National Treasury was the approval of 1.6 billion. And we were of the impression, because we had submitted for all provinces, When the minister made this communication in the National Assembly, we were of the impression that it covers all, although it is not 11.9 billion as submitted. It will be distributed, if not equitably, but in a certain form, so that there is a fair distribution, even if it cannot be similar amounts. When we met as a department to get a full briefing and the implication of the 1.6 billion, it transpired that the 1.6 billion in total was not for all provinces, but the 683.9 million was for municipal disaster recovery grant for 4 provinces, which is KwaZulu-Natal, Eastern Cape, Free State, and Mpumalanga. Whilst 947 million was allocated for Western Cape for the provincial disaster recovery grant. The other provinces did not receive anything in relation to provincial disaster recovery grant. It was unfortunate, Chair, because this was not the allocation done by the ministry, but by National Treasury. We have done engagement with the National Treasury, which I hope the National Treasury will get an opportunity to come and give clarity even to the portfolio, because the rightful portfolio to clarify in terms of how it happened is National Treasury. We have been given an understanding that the National Treasury is working on another program that can address this abnormal situation that happened, to find that a larger amount is allocated to one province and the rest of other provinces do not get anything. But what I can be clear about, Chair, is that from COPTA, we submitted for all provinces. Unfortunately, the allocation at the end of the day rests with the National Treasury. I can end there on that one. The second item is the update on the STS-TID rollover projects with Eskom. The latest information in relation to this item is that much work has been done, and all of us as members of the public, we were following the process towards the closing date. And the information, Chair, as of today, (94.7% meters have been reset. And this leaves out 5.3%, which is outstanding. The total number of prepaid meters is 4.1 million, and the total number reset is 3.8 million, which leaves out 216,501 meters outstanding, which constitute 5.3%. Even if it was 1%, that 1% would have been representing people. 5.3% can be a smaller number if you compare to 94.7%, but in terms of human beings or in terms of outstanding meters, serving a bigger number of people is 216,501. The bigger portion of this number is from Free State at Mangaung, where we are still waiting for a clarification on a figure of 59,653 prepaid meters. Once that number has been cleaned, the number will go down from 216,501. The municipalities are now currently involved in a process of trying to assist those people who had to get new meters because the closing date could not be extended. It came and passed. And those who have problems will have to visit the offices of municipalities and get proper assistance. I think, Chair, on that one, I can also go as far as that one. The third item will be government response to food poisoning and registration of spaza shops and retail businesses. As we are all aware that this was an unfortunate scenario that happened in our country. It happened when we had gazetted the standard bylaws which have been cascaded to municipalities, for municipalities to follow due processes to adopt them in order to regulate the spaza shop and small business retailers. As we know that following the incident of the death of children, the president had to call the family meeting where he announced measures and gave 21 days for all municipalities to ensure that businesses in the form of spaza shop and small business retailers in our township, villages, and rural areas should be properly registered and operate accordingly. The department firstly classified this challenge as a disaster. Chair, there is a difference between classification and declaration. Classification means the disaster is categorized as a national disaster because it is happening beyond one province. If it is happening in one locality, it is classified as a local disaster. If it is provincial, it is classified as a provincial disaster. But if it is more than one province, it is classified as a national disaster. We had engaged all our stakeholders, and up to now, we agree there is no need of declaring the national disaster because when you declare that it is a national disaster, it has huge implications. Financially, the mobilization of many resources that do not come at no cost. Having engaged all stakeholders, we are of the common understanding that the classification is enough to try to contain the crisis. We can say that we thank God that although one saw in the media yesterday, which one cannot confirm well, another death of one child, but it is not as bad as it was when the president eventually gave the 21 days, which will expire on the 17th of December. Where we stand now, Chair and members of the committee, municipalities. We had a webinar meeting with all municipalities where we explained the process in terms of ensuring that the standard bylaws are being gazetted and implemented, and also clarifying the process in terms of registering the spaza shop. We are satisfied with the work that is being done on the ground because we do see the door-to-door processes or programs being conducted in various provinces throughout the country. We are hopeful that by the time when 21 days elapse, a considerable number of all qualifying spaza shops will have registered, because you only need hours in a day to register. You don't need more than 1 day, so 21 days is enough for those who qualify. People who will have a problem, whom we had requesting the extension when we were on day number 5, while we were still having 16 days to go, we said, but people should not ask the extension while there's still 16 days to go. All they need to do, they must go and register. If there is something outstanding, look of what is outstanding. The following day, go back. But if you don't qualify, even if it can be a year, you will not qualify because you don't qualify to register a spaza shop. For now, therefore, Chair, we are looking forward to the finalization of figures. On Friday, we will be receiving the information on progress in terms of registration. And the next Friday, again, we will be receiving the update report so that when the 17th of December comes, we know how many businesses have been registered. But on Thursday morning, we will be having a meeting with all the district development model champions for the 52 districts, activating them that they must be on the ground. Because, Chair, we are quite cautious that there might be challenges on the expiry of 21 days. People wanting to register and causing chaos. But if you effectively engage people and go along with them in the remaining days and clarify issues and get every champion on the ground, it can mitigate against any problem that might crop up once the 21 days have elapsed. Once the spaza shops have registered, we will ensure the compliance in terms of the laws and also ensure that through the relevant departments, they are able to access the 500 million rand that was promised as available to support the small businesses in order to make the premises comply in terms of windows, in terms of doors, in terms of the environment inside. Also, we have made a request to the National Treasury to employ 10 health inspectors per district, which will be 10 health inspectors times 52 districts in the country, in order to support the municipalities with no sufficient capacity to do inspection in terms of compliance once the process of registration has come to an end. I can go as far as that one, Chair, on that one. And the fourth one is on the Khoi and San matters. Chair, I would request to be very short on this one, in this way. Following the last time when we appeared before the committee as well as the NCOP, there has been limited engagement with some of the honorable members who have deep or interest on Khoi and San matters. But as a ministry, we have decided that we need to have a sit-down meeting with all Khoi and San leaders throughout the country. The date which we have finally agreed upon is 23rd of December. We are cognizant of the fact that it will be a day away from Christmas Day. We will rely on the advice or cooperation from the leaders of the Khoi and San that can we go ahead with this meeting so that we handle all key issues. When the new year begins, we are able to make follow-up on issues. I think on this one, I can go as far as that one because our feeling is we need to engage all leaders involved on matters of Khoi and San. In this meeting, we agreed that the ideal place could be Free State if you look at the proximity of where you will be getting leaders coming from. We can still consider the venue upon engagement. We are of the view that today is the 3rd. We still have 20 days to work on this one. In terms of logistics, it's something that can still be done. We want to be honest, Chair, on this matter, not just to do a tick the box exercise. That is why I wouldn't like on behalf of the ministry to go further on issues, but rather come back to the portfolio, having met the leaders and having dealt with issues and see how do we find a way forward in relation to this matter. The last matter, Chair, is the briefing on the, or before I come to that one, Chair, is to briefly respond on the issue of TICLA, the bill which should have served before Parliament, before election. Unfortunately, it could not be done. We have tabled a new plan in the ministry that will take us up to somewhere June next year. Now, we are aware that we will have missed the deadline of the Constitutional Court, which is May next year. We are planning to approach the Constitutional Court to request the extension, but we felt let us get some preliminary activities off the ground so that when we approach the Constitutional Court, we must say we have done A, B, C, D, and in terms of time, we cannot meet the deadline. The unfortunate scenario is that more time was missed prior the beginning of the 7th administration in the 6th administration. It cannot help anyone to complain about that. The only thing that we are doing is that because we are now here, we have made the timelines, and having worked on the timelines, we are also going to be receiving sufficient legal support from within the government and outside to ensure that we do not go wrong the second time as it happened previously. Lastly, Honorable Chair and members, in relation to the meeting with the Kings, we have had 2 meetings with the Kings, Their Majesties in South Africa. The first meeting was a preliminary meeting, and the second meeting was a 3 days meeting where we eventually agreed and finally constituted the Forum of the South African Majesties, and the chairperson was elected as King Mabena of Amandebele, who is leading the institution. On the 13th of December, we're going to be constituting the Forum of the Queens, because the Queens have an important role to play supporting our kings. As we have established the King's Forum, we agreed that we need to establish the Queen's Forum, which will be done on the 13th of December. We resolved to call the forum as the Forum of the Majesties, because we know there is an implication of Queen, the reign queen. So we couldn't say it is a King's Forum, because once the Queen is confirmed, she will be part of the forum. Therefore, we said it should be the Forum of the Majesties in South Africa. And I must report, Honorable Chair, that in relation to Queen Mojaji, the process has gone to a great extent. The President has finally signed the final papers appointing the Queen, and the process now is at a stage of gazetting, and then eventually the final process is done to inaugurate the Queen Mojaji to her throne. I think I can go as far as that one, Honorable Chair, in relation to queens and kings as we have met them. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and honorable members.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. That was quite succinct, but straight to the point. And from where we sit, those were the issues we would have liked that the minister should address, particularly the minister, because most of the issues, some of them were raised in the presence of the Director General and the officials. Of course, in some instances, we had the deputy ministers present. But I think the presentation now basically concludes a lot of the issues that we would have wanted the minister to address. Now, when we talk about the issue of the funding, I'm trying to find the letter which was sent to me by the Minister of Finance, which in a way, on the one side, it does confirm that it was Treasury that did the allocation. I think we all expected that. But on the other hand, the letter referred to, I just want to read the letter quickly because I still have concerns about it. So the letter goes this way. I refer to the initially scheduled engagement on the 26th of November between National Treasury Committee and Portfolio Committee on Cooperative Governance, Traditional Affairs, subsequently moved to the 3rd of December, which should have been today, this morning. Please note that the National Treasury has initiated a review of the assessment and recommendation process for disaster funding and allocation, and has contracted the Development Bank of South Africa to assist in this regard. Given the process underway, I humbly request that this meeting be deferred until the review is completed. That way, we would be able to have a fruitful and meaningful engagement. I trust my request will receive your favorable consideration. Sincerely, Minister of Finance. Now, all I can say, Minister, is that we raised the issue as a committee as to why, when there was almost R1 billion, the rest of the provinces did not receive the funding. The minister has not really responded to that. Instead, has indicated that there's a further process, which means there's no address, no response to this issue. So that is really the issue and the concern for us. The reality being that you submitted for 6 provinces, and then out of that, it was 5 provinces, and then out of that, those provinces, you ended up with only 1 being funded, and we still can't get the explanation for it. And that still remains a concern that has not been addressed. The fact that there's another process to address further problems is welcome, but it's not quite a response to the issue that we're raising. And so now, if the treasurer, if the minister of Cooperative is not able to explain that because that's not where the allocation was done, the matter still remains hanging for us. So I want to just leave it at that and then say, we welcome the address, the meeting that you're proposing for the Khoi and San community. The members are going to express themselves on that matter, and so we'll need to take the matters forward. So for now, let me just allow the team, the members of the committee, to make comments because we said it's not going to be a very long meeting. So I'm going to just walk through the members who are here. Then we'll also be inviting those on the virtual platform to make comments. We'll go about 2 to 3 minutes at the most for members just to reflect. But I think the report is succinct because this comes on top of a voluminous presentation that's actually been taken as read by the members of the portfolio committee. Honorable Buthelezi, 1 or 2 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chair, for the opportunity. I think to commend the Minister for that succinct summary, as you said, is a good place to start. Thank you, Minister. I just have 1 or 2 things which I would like to ask the Minister and the team to help my understanding. Firstly, on this issue of the allocation, which the Chairman has just touched on now, that I'm just trying to grapple with. I'm sure there's a lot of work that goes into compiling that, the report that came out with 11.9 billion rand. And then if then you just suppose this with 1 billion rand, but my question is now, in looking at what is been submitted, Bulawayo and the team, in other words, I mean, is there any overlap or at least sharing of or understanding of the criteria that you use? Because definitely there's criteria that you use to arrive at that amount. But then if the Treasury just come back with saying, I'm just giving you 1 billion rand, my concern is, are these parallel, or there's any, is there any meeting of these ideas in terms of the people? Because if you look at that gap between 11 and 1, and also it looks like, I think it's what they say, that sometimes you throw something in the mouth of the monster and just pray, hoping what is gonna cough out. That's really the best way I can describe it. And then the one of the STS, because I know we're pressed for time, Chair, I just wanted to understand as well that I think the Minister pointed out that the municipalities are helping the spillover. If I understand what I'm asking. So I just want to know, is this just intervention, just an intervention, Bulawayo, for now, or what is the permanence of this, of the municipalities throwing a lifeline to the spillover, as you broke it down? And then the next one, maybe on the spaza shops, on the spaza which you gave us, I just would like, as I said, I'm mainly coming from trying to understand this thing of classifying and declaration. What really, how does the classification graduate to a declaration? Because definitely, I think the Minister said that there's resources and funding, but how does it think? And maybe the next one also, we saw with shock how much the glut of what was discovered at the port in terms of expired stuff. I just wanted to know whether how far does the ministry go, maybe in collaboration, that they collaborate with the police, not necessarily what has been found now. We don't even know what is there, which wasn't found, and what could still come in. How far is the reach of the department because of the concern of this disaster we have of spaza shops in terms of dealing with ports now? Because we might have found these ones, but maybe a lot is left in the system and more might come in. Maybe lastly then, Chairman, not to abuse your time.
Yeah, you've stretched it.
Okay, no problem. I can always ask afterwards. Let me give my colleagues a chance.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Thanks. Honorable Taiposh, we're giving 2 minutes for the members.
Thank you, Chair. Let me not waste my 2 minutes. Thank you, Minister, for the feedback. The first 4 points, the first 3, it's clear as daylight to me. Number 1, it's not finalized. I know. I can see that they're going to come back. Number 2 makes total sense. Number 3, total sense for me. So 21 days is 21 days. Number 4, Chair, the sit-down meeting that you would like with the, sorry, Chair, Minister, with the Khoi and San. Is that a national meeting? Is it provincial? Or are you going to do provinces? Or are you going to allow us to give you input, to give you some input and names about who the true leaders are, so that, that this can come to, we can all give input as to who the true leaders are, so that we can get somewhere. Instead of having activists, we'll have the true leaders, you'll have bloodline leaders, you'll have organizations, but people with a following, not people that's there, to come and try and score something. If you can just give clarity on that for us, please. And then on the TKLA bill, I think, well, there's an opportunity now as well for us to say exactly again why we reject that bill. And I don't know why COCTA is not listening to us, because if they looked at the results of the last round of public participation from our side, from the Khoi and San side, 95% of organizations and tribes rejected that bill. So it's like the government's trying to force this thing down our throats. We don't want it. It doesn't do anything for us. I said it to you then, I say it to you now. I reject it outright. It's a slap in the face of my ancestors. It's like spitting in their face. If I read that, if I read that bill and I accept that, I'm sorry, but we reject it outright in totality. And yeah, so yes, we'll be coming out strong again. I think it's from as early as tomorrow. You can expect protests from the Khoi and San people about this bill and things like that, because they don't want this bill. But especially here in the Western Cape, the guys are not happy, and I know countrywide. We've rejected it from day one. It was never about what you call it. Then, Chair, the other Khoi San matters that we haven't touched on. There's the NKC, all right? I've seen your report, but I don't like that. I want you to say that these people, because there's people within COCTA, that if they have to do something for the Khoi and San, they phone Cecil Fleer. They don't phone Glenn Tybosh, or they don't phone Ashley Kake or Saintus van Wyk. They phone Cecil Fleer. And they think that if they get his, okay, it's okay with the Khoi and San. And Cecil Fleer he's got no constituency. All right? He's got no constituency, first and foremost. He's a deputy mayor, he's an ANC councillor, and he's conflicted in totality. We need to sort it out. Then when I wrote to you, Minister, I said, please, the monies that are coming from the Rooibos and all those other IKS things, all right, we want the Hawks or the NPA and the SIU to investigate. Just now, people that are sitting on the board of trustees of that thing were giving to their wives and to newly formed, there's a newly formed tribe, the cow tribe that we had. It's 3 months old. They got 220,000 rand out of that money. But the lady that leads that tribe, I just want to say something, Jack. The lady that leads the tribe, she's one of the trustees on the board. So there's a lot of things that, Chair.
Honorable Tybosh, the details go to the meeting.
Yeah, so no, the detail will go to me, but what I'm saying is things are happening in the meantime while we are sitting, and it looked like we're doing nothing, And that's why, and I mean, we haven't spoke for a long time. I was expecting this kind of thing in October, and I'm sure you were busy and you couldn't get there. Equally with the municipalities that we've given to you. Maluti Apofung, things are falling apart. You've appointed a new MM, things are falling apart. You understand? So we,
Honorable Tybosh.
So, sorry about that. It's just, Chair, we don't get a chance to express ourselves. And the people out there are phoning us every day and saying, is anything happened? What are you doing?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So sorry about that.
Now, the structure of the meeting was that we needed the minister to provide the platform for that. So I think we're all agreed now that there is that platform. The details of this matter will go there. So let's prepare for that. Yeah. Okay. Tingsoi.
Thanks, Chair, and greetings to Honorable Minister. The matters for observation is that as you constitute the Khoi and the San, please be mindful that the other Bantu groups in the form of Yongunis, they are trailing behind the Khoi and the San. AbakwaMthetho, AbakwaTembe, as far back as 1400, there are hundreds of matters in terms of jurisdiction. So when you handle matters of kings, there are jurisdictional issues. Your department was not supposed to be divorced from land because you are a king by having a domain. But now you are handling certification of kings and you don't give them their land. That is putting you in an awkward position because now when we sit at land affairs, we are resolving land claims which are submitted by the same kings. So when the report comes, you find that a land is supposed to be attached to a king. You are dealing with kings, no land. That causes a problem. And then in terms, so I would say, please be, once you've met the Khoi and San, so that we don't cloud them, can we constitute a Nguni people's meeting as well? So handle you have Mtetas and Dwandos, Tembes, so that we sit down. Kunama cases as well that are in court. Gwamthetho, there is a court case between houses. You have similar situation in other houses as well. And then those are matters which are attached to this so-called meeting which we're asking you. Then in terms of the Amakosi, by virtue of their establishment in that domain, they're supposed to be economic zones. But Amakosi are living in squalor since the forced removal into rocky and thorny areas. We've never recovered. And we're not being looked at when we do spatial development planning, yet this department is linked to local government. But when it comes to spatial development planning, it doesn't go as far in Zamakos. In Zamakos, they are unbankable. That is an insult. Because Leo land, nice and to unbankable. Suddenly it becomes bankable because the banking sector lays down capital to develop it. But because
you are off the issues on the table. Now you are quite inspired into a whole lot of issues. Can I ask you to hold it there? Yeah, so we must too. Honorable Koike, it's still 2 minutes, Baf.
Thank you, Chair. I'll be very brief. I still want to stay in the meeting. Until the end. Honorable Minister.
You are very safe here.
I feel very safe.
Please go ahead. But we're showing you 2 minutes.
Yes, sir. Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister, DG, and the entire team, and from my side, Honorable Chair, and the rest of my colleagues and everyone. Honorable Minister, thank you very much for the date for meeting of Khoi San leaders. Mine is just given that historically, when it comes to meeting Khoi San leaders, there has always been uncertainty around who those are. And given that we're also sitting with the act that's hanging in the balance, proper representation and a smooth process is quite key. So my question would be, are you open to us providing also a list of leaders or names of Khoi San leaders that we introduce to you to be a part of this meeting, so that there is not just a one-sided approach? Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Ndamase, it's not compulsory to ask questions, but you've got 2 minutes.
I've already given Honorable Taibosh my 1 minute. Now, in my other 1 minute is that we've already lobbied Minister. Remember the book we gave you for Amampond. We will still continue to lobby you from the context of the book. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. Those issues we'll have time to discuss with the minister, so we'll put them aside. Let's just focus. Then on the virtual platform were 2 hands, Honorable Mkhalipi and then Honorable Lapus Kakhne. Please start with the Honorable Mkhalipi.
Thanks very much, Chair. Thanks for the presentation from the Minister. Greetings to colleagues, Chair. On the, what do you call this? The allocation, the presentation from the committee on
Disaster
the funding. Yes. Sorry, it's just that I'm using my phone. I hear you. I hear the minister, and we got the letter. The chair shared the letter from the treasurer with us, and the chair also a recap on the letter. So, Chair, I need a clarity here. Firstly, I understand the treasurer's letter and non-funding so far for the disaster funding, but I want to get a clarity on the page that says disaster funding request and approval, you and you. So I will need a clarity because in that page, it talks about requested amount for MDRG and PDRG, and the amounts that are stated there. And there are amounts also on the second column on the MRD. So are not this from the department itself? So if this is the case, Chair, if I'm correct, which they are funding that were coming from the department, from those grants, according to my understanding. Because the biggest question that we had last week when we dealt with this matter was the fact that we don't know about any project that was implemented after floods, after disaster minister. So we requested the department to come and take us through. We were told even that Mr. Stolle, who's the head of unit of the disaster, is also sharing that committee at a municipal level. So we're lost until we're told that National Treasury didn't allocate any funds as per the application. So now we still request that we can be finished with the project that has been implemented. That is one. The second one, Chair, on the disaster funding as well, is the reason why they started to apply for funding for 2023. Because my understanding is that there were floods before that, which were very big in the country in 2021, if I'm not mistaken, Chair, where it was declared as a national disaster. So can you have a reason why the department opted to apply for funding in 2023? What happened to those people who were affected before 2023, 2024 disaster? And we still need an updated report on that floods because people, even if you go now as a member of parliament, as an activist, as a councillor to say, please put your name on the list, you are going to submit here in the department, they don't trust you anymore because they were made to submit their list even in 2021 floods. So those are the 2 questions on the disaster funding. On the one that is an updated in terms of the new meters.
Yeah, let's just round it up now.
Yes, Chair. On that one, Chair, as much as we are very grateful about the update, but when I listen to the minister, it's not clear to say those people who needs to go and why they have a non-vendor machine in their houses. What is going to happen to them? I only saw on the media that the Ekurhuleni have issued a letter, I don't know if it's verified, and saying to residents of Ekurhuleni, please come, there will be no charge, there will be no penalty. Can we get a clear way forward in order for us as well as the leadership to talk to our people to say, right, now we have a problem, you didn't pay for electricity for so long, so the municipality have these arrangements. The last one, Chair. I was listening to the minister when he was talking about the 21 days in about spaza shop. Minister, the problem is bigger than we think here. It also involved the Department of Health. It also involved the Department of Education. It's only not spaza shop. Do you have a capacity as COGTA to deal with this matter? What are the joint program to deal with this matter with those departments? Because if a child is dying, no matter is one child or 3 children or 4 children, but the problem is too big for us. We need a concrete way forward on how to deal with this thing. Because to say that spaza shop, they must go apply, it does not mean that it solves problems. We know the corruption in this country. Can we get a concrete plan on how to deal with this matter? Thanks very much, Chair. But this 2 minutes is a problem, Chairperson. Thanks.
No, the meeting, we did warn the members that the meeting is going to be short. There are other pressing matters on this. So we will have to redo the meeting and get additional information at a later date. No problem. Honorable
Okay, Chair.
Fansale, I see. Yeah, Honorable Fansale, I see it's you now, no longer Labuskachne. Please proceed. You've got 2 minutes.
Thank you, Chairperson, and also thank you to the Minister for the updates on these various matters. Minister, I'd like to find out what support is the department giving to the municipal areas where the meters have not been recorded or recoded yet. The Minister mentioned some areas in Mangaung and some other areas. I didn't quite catch all the areas due to some loud transport. And then on the foodborne illnesses and the registration of all spaza shops, I'd like to know what consequence management there will be, Minister, if the 21 deadline isn't met. I know you said there's 10 EHPs for the 52 districts, et cetera, but the rural nature of our areas, the magnitude of spaza shops that does exist, I do think that 21-day target will be exceeded. And I'd like to know what consequence management there really would be. What is the department's plan then? Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Members, I have to apologize. We did request that this meeting should be short, and it's likely going to be based on the briefing. We understand that there are lots of issues you might want to raise. So I'd like the ministers to focus on issues that are relating to the matters that have been tabled in the agenda. And then where there's going to be additional information, it looks like the issue of the spaza shops, we will need another update. The issue of the meters, we'll still need another update because we want to know what are the implications on the few people that are involved who have not been converted. What's going to be happening with the issue of spaza shops. So I think those 2 issues are going to be with us, even if you're going to react now. But when we come in first thing in the year, we will want these updates with more details of what would have happened since then. As you can hear, the members are very concerned about those. But I'll give you just a few minutes to round up the issues and just respond to the members. Some of them are elaboration of their concerns. They're not necessarily new issues. So try and just focus. Thank you very much, Minister.
No, Chair, in the interest of time, on matters regarding Khoi and San, we are open to contributions, input as to who are the leaders that must be invited. All other issues, therefore, will be discussed at that forum. Objections to TICLA go to that forum. On the question of allocation, I'm sure the Minister of Finance will come before the portfolio to give more information about the initiative he is indicating in the letter. From our side, as I responded, we can be limited in giving any further information because in terms of what we had compiled from 2022, 2023, 24, January, June, and July, as I said, it amounted to 11 billion. And there is a slide that breaks down that amount. And unfortunately, we received the 1.6 as I indicated. We would also prefer that probably as the Minister of Finance requested the matter to be delayed to further visit it, probably there will be some way of adjusting to the challenge that happened. Because sometimes when mistakes happen, the best way to find a correction than dwelling on a mistake, because it has happened in terms of allocation. We do understand, because Treasury would say, when we allocate money, we look at the capacity to spend on the basis of information before us. But now one would say, if I feel you can't spend 20 rand, I will give you a rand because I know you will be able to spend a rand. So, but I think Treasury is in a best space to give a response on this one. Issues of jurisdiction, Nyambose, will belong to another platform. We note it. Classification, Honorable Buthelezi. The classification, as I said, is when you categorize the disaster, whether is it a localized, provincial, or national. It has limited implications, but which are enough to deal with disaster, because it regulates what other provinces, what other departments must do. 15 departments are working together on this matter. At a net joint, provincial joint, but at a national level, 15 ministries are working together. As the honorable member mentioned, few, but it's a range of ministries that are working together on this matter, because we know it is not only going to be the responsibility of COGTA. Other matters are health related. Once spaza shops have been registered, the Department of Health will have to prescribe what must be sold in a spaza shop. It will not be done by COGTA. Home Affairs is on board, because we need to verify that our people who applied for the spaza shops are really qualifying and relevant people, or some might have forged the documentation. The police, a number of the departments are working together on the matter. Now, how different then? What qualifies it to be a declaration? Like, for instance, if the death of children can become widespread day in, day out, and you discover that it has gone beyond the ordinary crisis, it's at a worse extent, it's no longer containable, you need to introduce certain restrictions. Some restrictions, you would say, at a particular time, all the shops will be closed. At a particular time, because the inspectors are not sufficient, the health inspectors, I will mobilize even soldiers to be part of adding to people to ensure that we exert control, because the problem is overspilling. Then you arrive, it then graduates from a classification into a declaration. The classification activates a number of regulations, saying at a mild or medium level in containing the challenge. As we will all agree, I couldn't able to confirm, Chair, in the morning, but I saw in the media like one child died yesterday. But it is not as worse as it was when the number accumulated to more than 26. There has been a break where there is no death. Now, it says the problem is being contained in terms of further deaths. That is why it doesn't graduate to a declaration. But if it escalates beyond what is acceptable, then it graduates to a declaration. I think other matters, Chair, we will come with more details. We noted all the issues because I'm mindful. I would have requested the DGs, the DG and DDG, as well as Deputy Minister Panis Namashe, but I'm very mindful of time. And next year, we will come with more details, having enough time to respond on issues.
No, thank you very much, Minister. I must apologize to Deputy Minister and DG and other members. We won't have space to be able to get through more of those issues. Let me say we want to thank you. We wanted it to be a brief meeting, mainly just to close on a number of issues with the way forward. So can I just round up? So then I'm going to hand over to Honorable Teles. If you want to proceed with the meeting, I'm going to have to be excused. The first issue here, I think we welcome the date, Honorable Minister, and we also welcome the fact that there are suggestions, if there are suggestions, that we can bring them to your meeting, and so also in relation to leaders that we think need to be brought in, and I'm going to urge the members to do that. And I don't think any further discussion is going to change this issue at this point, but I think it's important for members to go and prepare for that meeting. In relation to the bill, TICLA bill law, here the committee is concerned about the fact that we're now going to finish 2 years and the bill will not be with the committee and we'll have to go and approach the court. We're very concerned about that. And we will only interact with this matter when the bill, when there's a plan of how this bill is going to be processed coming to the committee. Will then involve the legal team of Parliament, because it means the matter has to go to the Constitutional Court, and who participate, it's a matter that we'll have to discuss there. On the issue of the Eskom meters, we would like, when you come back next year, to tell us exactly that no person has suffered as a result of this hitch of the outstanding 216,000 members. But also, we want to know what the implications of those who are outstanding, and we expect that there should be no one who must be disadvantaged. On the issue of disaster funding, members are also interested in further information about funding for previous years. You'll have to come back with that. And also the issue of the capacity to spend, it's a new issue that's arising. It doesn't appear on the letter. We didn't see it on your note, so we just hope that we'll get more clarification. But if the matter is has to be a corrective approach, the minister hasn't said so, but it looks to us that he's trying to correct it, but we need to then get more information and more clarification when he comes back. The other members have raised the question of the capacity of COCTA to manage the issue of food poisoning. 10 new health inspectors in a district is not a lot of people. So again, we would like you to look very close into that, because the death of people is unacceptable. But the question of how COCTA is going to manage that, yes, you still got a number of weeks to deal with it. We think the work is much too big for the size of staff you're talking about and for the time frame. But nevertheless, we hope that you will keep the information, keep us informed about it. Those for me would then cover what the attitude of the committee with regard to these matters. But we'll pick all of these issues up again when we come back at the beginning of the year. So, but thank you very much for that. Now, if members would like to proceed with the meeting, at this point, I would like to bring the meeting to a close. But if the members want to proceed with the meeting, I'm going to request that I should be excused. One point of clarity.
Or is it going to be in the provinces, per province, or one national meeting? You know, I think.
I can
Yeah,
ahead
okay.
with what you said. Honorable member, if we want to move province by province, it can take months. We want a one-point meeting. We can decide from there if there is a view that can you split it down. But we do know there is a work done by the commission. We do not want to conflate issues, but we want to deal with this one central meeting at a national level.
Okay, no, I think that we can also be free to share further queries with the minister, but we will, I take it we're all invited, so we're coming. And so for all the members, please share the information with the minister. At this point, Minister, honorable members on the meeting and those on the platform, I would like to thank you all for attending. Thanks to the deputy ministers and the DG and all the other officials on the virtual and on the virtual platform and in this meeting. This meeting is then closed, and we really want to say sorry for the rush, but nevertheless, I think the issues have been covered. Thank you very much. Travel safely. Bye.
Thank you, Chair.